Let's talk about an important part of the CROSStrax platform, which is the investigative users or the investigator users database. Now, this is a list of employees, part-time investigators, or in-office staff or subcontractors that will be involved in performing tasks on your investigations. CROSStrax gives you a way to keep all of this information organized. You can also generate usernames, login credentials for these types of users out of the investigator's profile. It gives you a way to manage their information and track their performance and also assign them cases as well. What you'll want to do is go over here, click on Investigators, and then click on List. That's going to bring you to a list of your investigators that you have added into the system. And currently we have 2 in our demo account. I'm going to click on this first one here. This is going to bring you to the investigator's profile. You can enter their information, see their address on a map. You can see here this driver's license for this investigator is expired, and that's why it's in red. You can add their licenses, insurance, any documents that you want to keep on file for this investigator, you can. You can also enter things in here under the other categories, such as disciplinary actions, or if you keep other personnel records, applications, anything like that. This can become your human resources file, if you will. You don't have to keep outside files in a storage cabinet or something like that. You can keep all of this information right here in the system, so you always have it at your disposal whenever you need it. Here's a field where you can upload their resume. As I mentioned before, all of the details on the individual, such as their address, where they live, gender, race. This ratings field gives you a way to gauge their performance. So you can go through and, okay, that contractor or that investigator did not do a really good job, or something happened on the file. You can put them into what's classified as a do not use category. If someone says they don't want to be contacted anymore, you can put them in this category. So a lot of different ways to do and manage your investigative users. If you want the investigator to be able to upload video into your case files, you can check that off, advise whether or not they're active or not. Let's say you have a subcontractor or a part-time investigator that you use every once in a while in California. You use them once every quarter. You can turn that investigator on and off as needed so that they can access case information. Here's the role area where you can assign the investigators different roles, and this gives them different access to the system and information. Keep track of their hiring date. If they're going to be sending emails out of the system, you can create a signature for them just like you would in any email program. I want to touch on a few things up here at the top, this Manage Rates tab. This is where you will enter the rates that you're going to pay this investigator for these different searches that are in your billing and expense items. You can change these at any time. You can also reset the rates to your default rate if you'd like to as well. The next tab over is Manage Territories. This is where you can set the parameters where an investigator works. You can also manage their service categories as far as what types of investigations that they conduct. These 2 tabs here are also related to the Investigator Alliance. If you're not familiar with that, you can go to investigatoralliance.com and learn more about that as well. One of the things that I want to touch on as well is if you need to search for investigators, I'm going to go back here to Investigators and click on List. And you can search for their name, email address. If you have, let's say you have 40 investigators in here and you're looking for someone specific, you can search for that. If you're looking for somebody in a certain zip code or a region, you can do that. If you need to add a new investigator, you can do that by clicking this button over here on the right. You can also add another investigator by clicking on the quick access button here at the top and click on Add New Investigator. If you ever need to export your investigators into a spreadsheet, you can do that by clicking on the Export to Excel button here. As you make changes to your investigative database, you're going to want to log those, and so that you can keep track of any changes that are made. If you click on this icon right here over on the right hand side, you can see a log of all the changes that have been made to an investigator's profile, along with the time and date and the user that made those changes. The $ over here to the right is where you can make changes to that investigator's rates. If you need to do that quickly, instead of going into the profile, you can do it right from there. So just to recap, you click on Investigators. In the menu bar on the left, click on List. From there, you can view an investigator's profile by clicking on their name. Inside that profile has various information on that person. Think of it as a personnel file. All of the information that you would typically have on one of your investigators could be in here. You can rate their performance, change their access to case information, change their personal information, and upload documents. You can also upload a photo of that investigator if you'd like to, and also manage the rates that you pay that individual. Back on the list, you can search for investigators, view a log of information that's been changed in a profile. You can also manage their rates and view their profile or search for investigators for specifics such as territories, states, or gender. Also, you can export that investigator's information and all your investigators' information into an Excel spreadsheet. Right here, just want to point out, if you have an investigator that, let's say they get promoted and you want to make them an administrative user, click on Switch Account and make that individual an administrator.